Hello, everyone. It's Miss Graham and Miss Cisco here, and today we are here to teach you about skills. So we are going to be doing Skills Unit 6, Lesson 7. Our goal today is I can read The Picnic by the River with purpose and understanding, and will answer literal, inferential, and evaluative questions about key details in the text. So before we get started, let's talk about these 5 W's. So I want you to hold up your hands. All good stories answer these 5 W questions. So if you look at your sum, you can think about the W word who. Who is the characters in the story? So who are the characters? Your next finger, your pointer finger is what? The beginning, middle, and end of the story. Think about the plot. What is happening? Your next finger, your middle finger, when? Time the story takes place. So when is the story taking place? Your next finger, where? The location or the place of the story. And your last finger, your pinky, is why. The reason for the character's action. So why is the character doing that? So today's story is called The Picnic by the River. It is about some surprise visitors that show up at Grace's family picnic. So if you remember last week, we read the first story in Grace's book called Mr. Spencer and the Rabbit. Now we're going to be reading the next story. So before we get started, let's look at some words. So the first word in the story that we need to go over is picnic. If you look at the first picture, you see some bears on a picnic. A picnic is where you take some food and a blanket and you go have lunch outside. The next picture is a brush. You might use a hairbrush to brush your hair. So if someone brushed your hair, they are sliding the brush through your hair gently. The last picture is a cat. The word is glance. Glance means to look quickly. If you look at this picture, this cat might be glancing at you. So let's review some sounds that we have gone over this year. The first sound is made by this letter C. So we know C has multiple sounds, but in this case, we are going to be looking at the C sound making the sound. So here's some words that you might see with the sound spelled with the C. We have Grace, Spencer, raced, and center. Another way to spell the sound is with the letters C and E together. So here's an example. Voice, you have the C and the E making, and the last one is glanced. Another way to spell the sound would be with the letters S-E. And there's one example in the story, and it is rinsed. And then we know that ED has multiple sounds, but in this story, we're gonna focus on ED making the sound. So here are some examples. We have picked, stuffed, asked, brushed, and slipped. We know when we add ED to the end of words, like here, that makes the word past tense, meaning it already happened. And some other words that we need to go over are some 2-syllable words. So this is important. In Grace's book, you are no longer going to have the dot in the middle of each syllable. So it's going to be up to you to figure out where the syllables are. The first word is picnic. Picnic. The second word is basket. And the last 2-syllable word is river. We know that ER says river. So take a minute, think about how you're going to tap those words out if you get stuck, and let's get started. So let's read today's story to find out who visits Grace's picnic. So here's the front of our book, and the next page is our table of contents. Who remembers what the table of contents tells us? That's right, it tells us the chapters and the page numbers. So we are going to be reading The Picnic by the River, and it is found on page 8. I want you to read along with me as I read. Here we go. The title is The Picnic by the River. Last summer, the Spencers had a picnic by the river. They had a picnic basket filled with food. It was stuffed with all sorts of good things: chicken wings, ham, grapes, chips, and cupcakes. Mr. Spencer set the picnic basket down. Grace and Jill went for a swim in the river. Who do you think's in this picture? Who do you see? See Grace and her family? That's right. After their swim, the children raced back to the spot where their picnic basket was. When they got there were ants marching down the side of their picnic basket. Why do you think ants are marching on their picnic basket? Ooh, let's see. The ants were marching off with some of their food. The Spencers had set their basket down next to the center of a big anthill. Yikes, shouted Grace in a loud voice. Who asked those ants to this picnic? Mr. Spencer picked up the picnic basket and brushed off the ants. Much of the food was in plastic bags, so it was safe from the ants. Grace and Jill rinsed off the grapes after they brushed off the rest of the ants. The Spencers sat down and ate their picnic lunch. This time, they sat far from the center of the anthill. After lunch, Mr. Spencer asked, "Should we pack up our stuff and get back to the farm?" "Not yet," said Grace, and glanced back at the anthill. So remember, glance means to look back quickly. She smiled and slipped some bits of cupcake and ham into her pocket. Then she ran to the anthill. She set the bits of cupcake and ham on the ground next to the anthill. Why would she be setting some of her food on the anthill? "There," she said, "that will be lunch for the ants. I think ants are cool when they are not crawling on our basket." So let's talk about some questions. What did Grace discover when she returned from swimming? I want you to find a family member and go answer that for them. The next one, where had the Spencers set down their picnic basket? I want you to go tell another family member where she set down the picnic basket. Next one, why did Grace set bits of cupcake and ham on the ground next to the anthill? Next one, what does this tell you about Grace? What kinds of words could you use to describe Grace? Now I want you to choose one of those, and I want you to write down an answer to it. So you can pause the video and think about it, and then press play when you're ready. Okay, so for tomorrow, this is what we want you to do. So you will be answering questions on an activity page, just like we do in class, but I'm going to post them here for you. So let's look at the first one together. Number 1 says, what was in the picnic basket? So before you answer that, let's talk through it. What is this question asking us? Did you say what was in the picnic basket? Yes. But remember, we have to always answer in a full sentence. We can't just list out chicken wings and grapes. We have to put it into a sentence. And what kind of sentence or what kind of letter do we always start sentences with? That's right, a capital letter. Every sentence you write needs to have a capital letter as the first letter. And what do we end sentences with? Yes, we end sentences with periods. So here is an example of what we are looking for. The question was, what was in the picnic basket? The answer says the picnic basket was filled with food. Now, that would answer the question, but we want to be specific. We want to give examples. So the next sentence tells us what really was in there, what types of food. There were chicken wings, ham, grapes, chips, and cupcakes. And if you notice, they have capital letters, they have spaces between their words, and they have periods. So keep that in mind as you answer the questions on your own tomorrow. So here are your questions. You can get a pencil and a paper and just write them out on your own. You can pause this video so that you know what the questions are, but I'm going to read them to you now. So number 1, we did it together. What was in the picnic basket? Number 2, where had the Spencers set down their picnic basket? Number 3, why was the food in the picnic basket safe from the ants? And last one, number 4, what did Grace do for the ants at the end? Now, if you get stuck while you're trying to answer these questions, go back to the story. Go back and read it on your own if you can. So make sure that you answer these questions, send them to your teacher, Mrs. Go or I, and we cannot wait to see your work. So now, our goal today was I can read The Picnic by the River with purpose and understanding and answer literal, inferential, and evaluative questions about key details. So you should be able to do that now. Excellent work, and do not forget to send your teachers your work.